My favorite way to pass time during school was to draw eyes. I've been drawing for many years now, and I think the way I simplify eyes is easy to understand and eye-catching. In this video I will explain how to draw eyes in this simplified way and why I draw them the way I do. So it's not only for beginners, since I believe there are some things even intermediate artists will find useful. To start off, let's define the general shape of the eye through some lines. Generally, I would advise to use 2 to 3 lines for the upper lid and 2 for the lower lid, although you can change up these numbers and experiment around with them a lot. Using a limited amount of straight lines really helps understand the shape of the eye though, since if you were to use curved lines, chances are you'll end up with a really wonky and awkward looking shape. Oh, by the way, I will be drawing only the right eye in this tutorial, since the left one is pretty much the same, it's just mirrored. Next, we will show the thickness of the eyelids, as well as the tear duct. There is only one tear duct per eye and it's located towards the middle of the face. So in this right eye, it's located towards the left. Also, this band connecting to the tear duct you see on the lower lid is to show the thickness of the eyelid, and you will see this in many reference photos for eyes as well. Also, it should be noted that you'd be able to see this same thickness for the upper eyelid as well, if you were to look at the eye from below. Now, let's add in the iris. In a neutral position where the eye is looking ahead in a relaxed manner, about 10 to 30% of the iris will be covered by the upper eyelid. If you want to draw eyes that look more grumpy or evil, then you can cover even more of it. The pupil is black and circular, and that's the place where the light actually enters our eyes. I like to define the outline of the iris by using many short lines, as you can see here. I just think that this looks more appealing than just using one boring circular line. When adding the shading, I add straight hatching to make the iris darker and leave a small place on the iris a little brighter, as well as making the top of it really dark. Lastly, I add a highlight on the opposite side of where I left a small brighter place. Why do artists, not only me, shade eyes in this way though? First, let's talk about where to place the highlight. This is an eyeball and we're looking at it from above. Right where our iris is supposed to be, there is a convex blob of transparent stuff on top of it, which is called the cornea, necessary for breaking the light so that it enters the eye at the correct angle. To the left there is our light source, a light bulb in this case. Lastly, this smaller eyeball represents your eye, or rather the eye of the one who is looking at your drawing. And the highlight will appear at the exact point where the light from the light source is being reflected directly into the viewer's eye, which means where the angle of incidence is the same as the angle of reflection on the cornea. At this exact point, the cornea functions as a kind of mirror for the light source, which is why the highlight is so bright. To conclude this short lesson about highlights, here is a general rule of thumb about where to place the highlight. If the light source is on the right side, then place the highlight towards the right side of the pupil. If it's on the left side, then place it towards the left side. Easy, right? Next question. Why are there parts of the iris that are lighter than others? Actually, that is because beneath the convex cornea, the actual iris is concave, much like a bowl for eating soup. Well, maybe not as concave as a bowl, but the general form is like that. Now, if the light source is on the left side, then the inner side of the bowl, that is closer to the light source, will be in shadow because it isn't hid with light. The other side of the bowl, where the light can reach, is brighter. And this same principle applies to the shading of the iris. As a general rule of thumb for this, the iris is the least dark on the opposite side of the highlight. So if the highlight is on the upper left, then the iris will be brightest on the lower right. Next, let's add the eyelashes. Since eyelashes are dark and get more numerous towards the intersection of the upper eyelid and the eyeball, I usually already make this upper line where the eyelashes will come out of a little darker while I'm still only defining the shape of the eye. But about the individual eyelashes, some general things to keep in mind is that they are curved and usually longer and more numerous at the upper eyelid. Same thing towards the outer corner of the eye. eyelashes there will be more pronounced and longer. Now add a crease above the eye, because that is where the eyelid, following the roundness of the underlying eyeball, intersects the skin and fat that is just generally between the eye and the eyebrow. This kind of skin fold above the eye is commonly seen in European or Western countries, whereas towards the East there are some people who have so-called monolids, where the upper eyelid is mostly or even completely covered by the skin above. So, although not all Asians have these kinds of eyelids, if you would like to make your characters look like they are from Eastern Asia, you could give them monolids. Now, let's assemble everything we just went through, establishing the shape of the eye through some lines, adding the skin crease and eyelashes, adding the iris and pupil, as well as highlights. Actually, at this part there are many ways to further stylize eyes, such as making the pupil not completely black, but instead giving it a tiny white spot in it, or changing the form of the iris completely to make it look more appealing. Then let's add the eyebrow above everything. Not much you can do wrong here though. Keep in mind, however, that the eyebrow can convey much about the character's personality, depending on how you draw it. Like in this eye, in addition to making the upper eyelid cover more of the iris and making the eye more slanted, I also increased the angle of the eyebrow to make it look more intimidating. And yeah, that's it about drawing simplified, stylized eyes in a simple front view. Of course, if you want to draw eyes from different angles as well, like from below or from the side, then this topic becomes a little more complex because you need to really understand the form of the different parts of the eye. But for doodling during maths class, I hope this will help you out plenty. If you'd like a follow-up tutorial on different perspectives for the eye or about other facial features, please let me know. Thanks for watching.